I be Mr. Siokas, and I be wearing a pirate hat for no reason at all. I don't speak properly. I use the word be instead of em. We talked about linking verbs, remember, mateys? Now, what say you we travel back for a proper version? I am Mr. Siokas. I am wearing a pirate hat for no reason at all. On this episode, we're going to expand on what we've already learned about our sentence formulas. We've learned subject-verb. We've learned subject-subject-verb. We've learned subject-verb-verb. What do you think we're going to learn about today? Me hearties. Today we're going to learn about subject-subject-verb-verb. SSVV. That's what's coming up next.
It's time for another episode of Jimmy the Greek's Writing Workshop.
I used to be this buff.
Many moons ago, long before I became a school teacher,
I commandeered a vessel known as the USS Siokas. Picked up a buccaneer crew outside the port of Davin. We sailed the seven seas in search of treasure.
but them waters be dangerous, and like every pirate worth his salt, we each had to use an alias.
Use an alias! Use an alias!
An alias be our bird or word of the day.
Alias is a noun, and it means an assumed or additional name that a person sometimes uses. In other words, it's a fake name.
I be Captain Blackbeard.
Rock! Alias!
In the galley be Cameo Camry.
Rock! Alias!
This be the mermaid, English Ella.
Rock! Assumed name!
Swab, Everglade Eli.
Rock! Additional name!
And me first mate and trusty explorer, Nassau Noah.
Rock! All aliases!
Camry feeds the crew. Eli releases and lowers the crate. The captain and Ella defend the ship. The squid and octopus hunt and attack Noah. You may have noticed that there are a few extra nouns floating around here. These come after the verbs and are called direct objects. We'll get into that more later on down the road. But just remember, they are nouns, but not the subjects. This is why it's important to root out the subject by asking the who or what question. For example, who or what feeds? Camry does. Who or what releases and lowers? Eli does. Who or what defends? The captain and Ella do. And who or what hunts and attacks? You guessed it, the squid and octopus.
And that's how we came to be in your service. You see, we found the treasure, and we split it 5 different ways.
Ella bought a castle in England. Noah went to astronaut school and bought his own spaceship. Eli bought a motorcycle and leather jacket, but unfortunately lost the rest in a dice game and now lives in a shack. Camry bought a panda bear and then donated the rest of her cut to the Bulldog Humane Society. But only because I promised her half of my cut if she married me.
And for my other half, I spent it on making these videos. So let's make the most of them and do some learning.
But first, me hearties,
Lightning Round Review!
What is a subject? It's a noun, the main noun. It's what the sentence is all about. What is a noun? A person, place, thing, quality, or idea. What's an action verb? It's something you can do. Sail, explore, discover. What's a linking verb? A word that links the subject to a word that describes. What's an in-punctuation? A period, question mark, or exclamation point. What are the 5 requirements of a complete sentence? It's got to start with a capital letter, end with a punctuation, have a subject, and a verb, and the sentence has to make sense. What are the pen steps? Pick out a formula. That could be SV, SSV, SVV, or now SSVV. Explore words. Note the words. Search and check. And what are the steps for search and check? Mark out imposters. This could be an infinitive, which is the word to followed by a verb, or a prepositional phrase, which is a phrase that begins with a word that tells us where or when. Then find the main action verb or linking verb, root out the subject, and finally key in on the beginning, ending, and meaning of the sentence. This episode is about the sentence formula SSVV. What do you think is a simple way to describe this type of sentence? 2 people doing 2 things. Here's a couple examples.
NASA NOAA, this is Houston. We'd like to congratulate you on a safe return home from the moon.
Ella and Noah meet and greet. Eli and Bubba laugh and chill.
Those are some simple examples of SSVV sentences. But now, let's make them a little more detailed by using some of the tools that we've learned.
I'm talking about infinitives.
To infinitive and beyond.
And prepositional phrases. Instead of just having Ella and Noah meet and greet, let's add to it and say, Ella and Noah meet and greet to celebrate at the castle. There, we added an infinitive and a prepositional phrase. They're both imposters, so we cross them out and label them. There's our 2 verbs. There's our 2 subjects. Capital letter, in punctuation, and it all makes sense. Now for our next example of an SSVV sentence. How about Eli and Bubba laugh and chill to relax in the swamp?
What? Hello.
Yes, yes.
Great job. Great job.
Hoorah!
Here be a little joke to lighten the mood. Why didn't a pirate take his children to see a certain movie? Because it was rated R.
All right, me hearties. All hands on deck. You know the exercise, and you've done the drill. I want 10 sentences, each one containing 1 infinitive, 1 prepositional phrase, 2 verbs, and 2 subjects. Make sure you label each word appropriately. Get those imposters out of there.
Yeah, I know I'm an imposter pirate. I don't want you to get me out of there. I'm talking about the infinitives and the prepositional phrases. Make sure you mark them out and label them properly. I for infinitive, P for prepositional phrase.
And remember, you must get 80% or better in order to advance to the next lesson.
Now, set sail. Bring me that horizon. And write to your heart's content. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Jimmy the Greek's Writing Workshop. Yarr!
Don't everybody thank me at once.